Oh, hello there. Thank you for coming. The Wheel of Destiny says Let's Solo is up next, so let's solo, I suppose. I think it would be best if we just continue to learn the shapes, and once we've learned all the shapes, then there's, of course, millions and billions of other things to talk about. But just to review really quick, we started, and we're going to be in the key of A minor, so you're going to find an A on your E string for continuity's sake throughout these videos. That is the 5th fret of the E string is A, and first we learned the shape everyone knows and loves, the minor pentatonic, right? 5-8, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 5-8, 5-8. The reason I believe that's the shape everyone knows and loves is because the easiest one to remember. And then we went this way to this shape, which in A minor now, we're calling this the second one we learned, but you could call it the 5th position A minor pentatonic shape because there are 5 positions in total. This one would be the last one. 3-5, 3-5, 2-5, 2-5, 3-5, 3-5. So now you and I can solo roughly from here to here in the key of A minor, but we are going to go up now to what is commonly referred to as the major pentatonic. We're going to start on the end where we left off from the shape everyone knows and loves. So the 8th fret of the E string, and we are going to go 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. So there's your shape. Notice when I do it which fingers I'm using. I'm starting with my middle finger so that each finger has a fret. Not that that's a rule that you always have to follow, especially when you're soloing, but for practice sake, it's good to do so you don't have to shift your hand around a whole bunch. So middle finger gets the 8th fret, ring finger gets the 9th fret, pinky gets the 10th, and pointer finger gets the 7th fret whenever it pops up. So 8, one more time, 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. Not as easy to remember, you see, but you may notice that the first 6 notes are my girl. I would like to take a moment to clarify why this shape is commonly referred to as the major pentatonic shape. It's not the A major pentatonic shape. That would be the shape you just learned starting on the 5th fret. So 5, 7, 4, 7, the shape we just learned, right? 4, 7, 4, 6, 5, 7, 5, 7. That is the A major pentatonic scale because it's the major shape and we started on A. This would be the C major pentatonic scale, but C major is A minor's relative major. So there's 5 notes in the pentatonic scale, right? That's why it's called the pentatonic scale. We have A, C, D, E, and G. Repeat, 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 right? So those are the 5 notes, and when we look at this now major pentatonic shape, we have C, D, E, G, and A. So same notes, different order. That's why C major is A minor's relative major. The C major scale in its entirety has all the same notes as the A minor scale in its entirety. You just start at a different place, so it sounds different. So don't get confused thinking that because we are talking about the key of A minor, that makes this the A minor pentatonic. The A major pentatonic. It is the A minor pentatonic. It would be the A minor pentatonic position 2, the first one being here, starting on A, and then moving up through the positions, right? But it is the C major pentatonic, which is the same exact thing as saying the A minor pentatonic. You just start on C instead. And now, aren't we cool? We can now solo from all the way down here to all the way up here. And I think what you'll find, whatever key your song is in, the vast plurality of solos that you will encounter, by the way, this is the time now. Once you get comfortable with this 3rd shape, this is the time to go look up the tab for a solo that you just, burn to note, because that's the best way, I think, to learn to solo. But you recognize and remember what you're doing because now you've learned these positions and you're not all just in gobbledygook land, right? So we've got from here to here, and most of your solos in, whatever key, from here to here, depending on your key, are going to be in those 3 shapes, and the other 2 are kind of gobbledygook land, like I said, but we'll get to them nonetheless. But now let's talk about a couple of cool moves you can do in the major pentatonic shape. The first thing that comes to mind is that the top note of that aforementioned major pentatonic, or minor pentatonic, position 2, is the highest note that we can now bend. So, you can use those B string and E string notes, 8, 10, 8, 10, as a convenient little box to be in. You land on that G string 9th fret, so I just went bend that high note, E8, B10, and then I'm going to pluck E8 again, and hammer on to B10, and pull off to B8. And then I'm going to go back up to B10, pull off to B8, and play G9. That's an awesome thing to do. Here's an example of that little box in the wild. Yellow Ledbetter is in the key of E major, right? E, B major, and A. So those are the 3 major chords in the key of E. So it is indeed in the key of E. So the whole solo starts off, of course, on the C sharp minor pentatonic scale, or the E major pentatonic scale, but in a different position. Either way, saying the same thing. Right? Shape everyone knows and loves, but for the climax, you're going to go up to that little box from the E major pentatonic scale, which would be 12, 14, 11, 14, 11, 14, 11, 13, 12, 14, 12, 14, and here is that bend again in the wild. Get back into our A minor key. Here are 2 moves that are basically inside-out versions of themselves. So from the G string 7th fret from our major pentatonic, again the one we just learned, right there, you're going to grab that B string 8th fret as well. So you got G7 and B8 out of that shape and pluck both of them, but hammer on to the G string 9th fret. All right, you hear that move all over the place. You can resolve that down to the G and the B strings as that base of your minor pentatonic. Those 2, that's when your song ends on C. Right, but we're the lead guitar player, so we can go G and B5. And the inside-out corollary to that is going to be grab G9 and B8, so just kind of inside-out backwards, and we're going to hammer on to B10. And one we've already talked about, the hammer triplets. I always referred to this previously as from the top of your minor pentatonic scale go up 2 frets, and you've got the B string 8 and 10, or wherever, depending on the key, right? But now you recognize that as the top end of the major pentatonic scale rather than an extension of the shape everyone knows and loves, right? So that's our hammer triplet spot for this shape. Like the beginning of the daughter solo, right? But the daughter solo is not in the key of A minor or C major. It's in the key of G major, so if you don't know, if you recognize the move but don't know where it is, you just find your G. The song's in the key of G major, so you walk up your G major pentatonic scale, 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 4, and 3, 5, 3, 5 is where the daughter solo begins, right? On that G string on the in-between fret from wherever you are, right? So you can do that, but now we have 3 shapes all with great hammer triplet spots. We've got, again, from the shape everyone knows and loves, let's go back to the gobbledygook shape down here, and we've got, now we're not in the key of G major, as we've discussed, because we've declared ourselves in the key of A minor. Lots of the keys share notes in common, and here's 4 notes that A minor and G major share totally 100% in common. So A minor, not G major, and then we've got the shape everyone knows and loves, and then up to the major pentatonic. So that would be a cool thing to do to kind of climb when using the same theme. Tied it together. But But of course, the point of this exercise is not for me to sit down and say, here are all of the moves that you can do, because that's not realistic. The reservoir is so deep. But this is the time, now that you know 3 shapes, I think you'll find that any solo you look up is likely going to be contained within mostly those 3 shapes. So if you've been shying away from it, go find a solo, go find the tabs for a solo that you just burn to know, and I think you'll find that you're quite a bit less lost as you become familiar with those 3 shapes. And choose carefully, because whoever you learn from, so to speak, right, is going to highly influence your soloing. But then I guess you wouldn't go look up a song that you don't like the artist, so that's easy, and you can't really go wrong there. But that's it. That's your homework. Go find the tab to a solo that you just burn to know, and I guarantee you that by the time you learn the whole solo, you will be a much better soloer. That is my tip of the day. This is the only time that's ever happened. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that was fun and helpful, and I will see you next time with more stuff. Goodbye.